What's going on, winners? This is Coach JC, and I want to welcome you to another episode of the Win All Day podcast show. I am super excited today about our guest, but before you get started, if you're a frequent listener, then you know what time it is. It is time for our Win All Day winning confession. If it's your first time, I want you to hear me. We believe that you cannot live a life of winning if you're speaking words of defeat, and we believe there's power in your words. So if it's your first time, I just need you to repeat after me. Today is my day. Nothing will get in my way of me being the best version of me. I am here on purpose. I have a purpose. I am strong. I am passionate. I am fearless. I choose faith. I am a winner. I will win and win all day. Yes, you are a winner. And after today's show, I believe you are going to win more and win all day. I am so excited to be joined today by my friend, Mr. Jon Gordon. How are you, sir?
Coach, I am fired up.
Let's go. Well, I'm fired up as well. If you are listening right now and you don't know who Jon Gordon is, I don't know where you've been. Jon Gordon is an amazing, amazing human being. He's a father. He's a husband. I just want to give you an informal or formal introduction, Jon. And he's also an amazing author. I'll never forget the first time I was introduced by you, Jon. I read The Energy Bus, which was absolutely amazing. But Jon is a professional speaker. He talks. He's inspired people through, obviously, his books and audiences around the world. He's written many books: The Energy Bus, The Carpenter, Training Camp, which is absolutely amazing, The Power of Positive Leadership, The Power of a Positive Team, The Coffee Bean, and then I just saw the latest book come out, The Sale. And so I love this guy. I love his books. But when he's not running through airports and speaking on some of the largest stages or speaking to businesses or athletic teams or schools, you can find Jon. And this is one of the things I love about him the most. He's an absolute family man. He loves taking long walks. And, I do him a disservice by reading this short bio. But what I love most about him is that he inspires people, and all the people that we have in common of colleagues and friends. They say the same thing, and the same thing they say is Jon just loves people. And that's why I am all the books and everything you've done that's cool in life and success. The thing I love about you more, Jon, what everybody says, our great friends, is Jon just loves people. And I love people that love people. So let's welcome the one and only Jon Gordon to the Win All Day podcast show. We're great to have you, sir.
Hey, let's go. This is awesome. I loved your intro, and I love the confession, man. That is so powerful. I've never seen anything like it. And I could see you on stage doing that and people just getting fired up, right?
I'm telling you, bro. I'm telling you, it changed my life, Jon, the power of your words. And I went through a lot of things. And that's one of the things that, when I discovered personal development, I discovered, man, this thing right here, what comes out of your mouth can make or break you. And so many times we're our worst enemy. You have a shirt on that says stay positive.
That's right.
And most of the times we are the one that talks ourselves out of winning, right? And so I just had a show with Ed Milet, and I told him, I said, my goal, Ed, is to out-energize you. All the friends we have in common say, we got to get maxed out and win all day together. Hey, I know this isn't going to be a long show, Jon. I know you have some speaking engagements. We want to save your voice, and we want to be a good steward of your time. But here's what I would love to start off the show. I gave you a very, formal or informal introduction, but most people see you now and they say, look at Jon, the author, and what he's doing. It's super cool. But how'd Jon get to where he is today? Let us in the life of a little of how Jon arrived to where he is today, brother.
Well, it's so interesting because I'm not naturally positive. I actually go towards a negative. So I was losing the battle of my mind years ago. And so I was miserable, negative. My wife almost leaves me. She said, I love you, but I'm not going to spend my life with someone who makes me so miserable. You need to change. And I remember just on my hands and knees saying, God, what am I born to do? Why am I here? Why am I so miserable? And writing and speaking came to me in that moment. I remember almost being bankrupt. Like we were so close to being bankrupt as we second mortgaged our home, $20,000 in credit cards to open up a Moe's Southwest Grill franchise, a burrito place, hopefully hoping to make enough money so I can write and speak and do that work. So I remember doing that. I remember chasing success and being miserable, and then finally deciding I want to serve others, give my life away, make a difference, make an impact. And that's when things started to change. That's when I started to feel so much more positive with that newfound understanding of my mission, of my purpose, and what I was here to do. But I was losing the battle of my mind, and I had to learn how to win the battle. You said earlier, we talk ourselves, out of success. Actually, the problem is we believe the negative thoughts and the lies that are in our head. Now, when I work with professional athletes, I ask them this question: do your negative thoughts come from you? And they always say, yes, they're in my head. But here's the next question. If you believe your negative thoughts come from you, who would ever choose to have a negative thought? Would you ever choose a negative thought? No, this blows people's mind, right? You would never choose a negative thought. You would never choose to say, I don't have it. The future is hopeless. I'm not enough. I'm not worthy. I'm not going to overcome this addiction. I'm not going to overcome this health challenge. The relationship is not going to improve. Those are thoughts that come in that are here to sabotage you. And they're lies telling you negative things about yourself. The key is don't believe the lies.
Come on.
Don't listen to the lies. When they come in, don't believe them, see them for what they are, and then speak truth to the lies. And the truth is, you're here to do great things. The truth is, you're made in the likeness and image of God. The truth is, you were never meant to be average. And the truth is, you want to be great because deep down, there's greatness within you. You can feel it. That's why we aspire to do something great. You would never aspire if there wasn't a greatness to be achieved. And so those negative thoughts tell you you're not great. And that's the battle of our mind that's going on. And once you learn how to win the battle and not believe those lies and see where they're coming from and see that just like you have a nightmare or a bad dream, you're not choosing those thoughts. You're not choosing the thoughts that are trying to sabotage you. And so it's a battle every day of those positive and the negative. So don't believe the lies, speak truth, and then walk in that truth, walk in that power, take action. And that's when you win all day, right? That's when you start to have more wins in your life.
Powerful, man. That's such a powerful. Hey, guys, if you're listening right now, we could end this show right now and you could radically change your life. And I want to pause there for a second, Jon, because man, I didn't know that you were in that situation where your wife looked at you and said, hey, I don't want to live with a negative person anymore. And so you just gave them a simple formula to win in life. And basically it's you change your mindset, right? And your mindset, your thoughts create your belief, and you have the power. I think what you just gave people is understanding that you have the power to change it all. And so here's what I would say to that person right now listening. I just want to pause here because, if you keep saying negative things, right, you'll never change. And so we talked about stop speaking against you accomplishing your goals, stop sabotaging your success, stop doubting, right, who you are and who you can become. You'll never win that way. And what Jon gave you right now is a way to create new belief. And he said something powerful. He said, basically, we're creating faith, and faith is created, and faith is a belief. And you have the ability to take your words and reprogram your belief. What a powerful tool and how it could change your life, Jon.
And my friend Jesse Bradley calls it the power of a second thought.
Come on.
Because the first thought that comes in is not from you.
Yep.
What happens is it comes in so fast that you believe it.
Ooh.
Then you reinforce it. Then you speak it out loud. That's what you're saying. You're actually speaking out loud the negative thought. You're reinforcing the thought that you thought was from you. And then it becomes a pattern in your mind and you start to believe those lies. Instead, what I'm saying is you recognize those negative thoughts are not from you. You don't reinforce them. And there's so much freedom in knowing that you didn't choose the thought in the first place, but you can choose how you respond to those negative thoughts with the second thought. What am I going to say now? So when I have a negative thought that comes in, I basically don't listen to it and I will repeat something in response to that negative thought. So on the left side of a piece of paper, write down all your negative thoughts that come in that are unique to you. You have yours, I have mine. We all have our patterns. Write them down. On the right side, write down the words of encouragement that you will say to speak truth to those lies, words of encouragement. And the word encourage means to put courage into. So when you encourage someone, you're putting courage into them. And when you're encouraging yourself, you're putting courage into yourself. See, here's the deal. We got 5 Ds that are coming against us all the time. You got doubt, uncertainty. We have distortion, which are the negative thoughts and their lies that are always coming in. And by the way, it's a spiritual battle. No one has ever found a thought inside of a brain. No neuroscience has ever found the thought inside of a brain. Thoughts exist in the internet cloud of consciousness. The brain is the hardware. It's where the activation happens. Right now, as you're perceiving me talking, watching, you're seeing, and there's synapses that are going on in your brain. Zzz, 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 and it's firing. And that's how you're making sense of the world. When a thought comes in, there's a connection, there's a synapses, right? But when that negative thought comes in, that distortion, don't believe it, because if you do, right, it will cause you to be discouraged. That's the third D, discouraged. We don't give up because it's hard. We give up because we get discouraged. Fourth D, distractions, and distractions are the enemy of greatness. There are distractions that are on social media, in the media, distractions of friends telling you can't do something or saying, hey, come to this bright and shiny place that might seem appealing, but it's not really good for your purpose. It's not good for your plan. So there are distractions that come in all ways. Sometimes that nice car, that nice shiny object is a distraction because it's really not part of your path, but you're so focused on that instead of being a better you, right? Be a better you and you'll have better things. If that's how if you focus on it that way, that's how it happens, right? So I know a lot of people, you can have the nice shiny object, but you're not even able to pay for it. You got a huge loan on it. And so you're not even owning that. You're pretending like you are. No, focus on you and you'll get what you want ultimately. Then the final 50 is divide. And the word anxious means divided at its Greek root word. And so when you're anxious, you're divided. You feel separate from yourself. You feel separate from others. And you feel separate spiritually. So that's the key, understanding those 5 Ds. And then we win the battle by, instead of doubting, we trust.
Wow.
We trust in God. We trust in the creator of the universe. We trust in ourselves. We trust that there's a plan for our life through the adversity, the challenge, in the midst of that turmoil, that moment where it looks hopeless, where it's bleak. You still trust that somehow, some way, the future's bright. I often say I am a pessimistic optimist. I'm a pessimistic optimist. I naturally go towards the negative.
Yeah.
Grew up in Long Island, New York, Jewish Italian family, a lot of food, a lot of guilt. I naturally go towards the negative. But I always have this eternal optimism then that says, you know what? It's going to get better. Somehow, some way, I believe the best is yet to come. And so there's this hope. In the midst of the doubt, we trust. In the midst of the distortion, we speak truth to the lies. So that's the key there, speaking truth. Instead of the discouragement, we encourage. And that's so important. We have to continually encourage. Zig Ziglar was once told, hey, Zig, motivation doesn't last.
Yeah.
He would say, neither does bathing. It's why you got to do it every day. So we got to encourage every day. Instead of the distractions, we focus on what matters most. And what matters most? Getting better, improving yourself. What matters most is building your life, creating your career, great relationships are what matter most, and ultimately loving people, loving what you do, and loving God. And if you focus on those simple things of getting better every day and tune out the noise, you're going to create something amazing, right? When you focus on loving others and loving what you do, I tell athletes all the time, love the competition.
Yeah.
Because if you love competing, you'll be in the moment. You'll be in the process. And when you love the process, you'll love what the process produces. You're not worried about the outcome. You're not fearing any situation, fearing failing. No, you're going to just love it. And when you love it, you will have a high state of mind. You have a higher level of performance, and you will definitely create something amazing when you have that focus on love. Because love is how we produce something great. Like Pavarotti, the famous opera singer, he was asked about his discipline. He said, everyone says it's discipline. He said, it's not discipline, it's devotion. He was so devoted to his craft that it drove his discipline to be great. If you have discipline, right, you're trying to be disciplined, but you don't have a lot of love for it and there's no devotion, that discipline is going to run out. But if you get the love and the devotion, you'll be continually disciplined in what you do. Tom Brady doesn't have to be told to go throw passes. Right? He is devoted, so it drives his discipline. When I'm on the road, people say you have an accountability partner. No, because I'm devoted to my wife. So I'm going to be disciplined on the road. I'm also scared of her, but that devotion drives my discipline, right? So what matters most, and then instead of division, we unite.
Come
And
on.
we unite to self, we unite to others. That's why connection with others is so important. Relationships, mentors, friends,
Come on.
colleagues. Connection drives commitment. You'll never have commitment without connection. So the more connected you are, the more committed you'll be. That's essential. But also unity with, I believe, the creator of the universe. When you have that oneness, right? We often talk about, every spiritual discipline really talks about a oneness, because we know oneness is the opposite of what? Separateness, of division. I talked about divide, right? And here's the spiritual battle. There is an enemy that wants to divide you and separate you from yourself, from others, and from God. What happened during the quarantine the last few years and the pandemic? There was more isolation, more division than ever. And now we're seeing the fruit of that. We're seeing the results of that. We're seeing mass violence. We're seeing people who have major mental health issues. We're seeing a breakdown in people and communities because there's been division. What do we need? Unity at the individual level, connection at the organization level, at the community level, and also spiritually with God. So the more I am one with God, the more I am stronger, the more I'm connected, the more I'm united, the more I'm whole. And as we know, there's power in unity and there's weakness in division. So what do you want more of? Unity or division? I want unity. So guess what? That's the journey we're on. That's how we win the mental battle. And guess what? Anything else we talk about is like comes secondary to this, because this is really the key to winning the battle of our mind and winning in life and winning all day.
Come on, baby. I love you, John. And now, hey, listen, I'm Italian, grew up in Jersey. I grew up in one of the most predominant Jewish neighborhoods. I work with athletes. You work with athletes. I love a lot about what you're saying and what you're about, man. And I want to ask you two powerful questions. But before I go there, guys, I do not want you to miss the power of what John just said. If you're listening right now, I don't know why you tuned in today, but those 5 Ds can radically change your life. And then we also spoke about the power of your words, how your words can create your life, right? The book I read says life and death are in the power of the tongue, right? So that two-edged sword, you can create your dreams or you can destroy everything. And your words can create a living dream or a nightmare. And so your word is so powerful. How are you using your words right now? I want to challenge everybody on this call. Your words every single day are planting seeds and they're building your reality. And so today you need to understand the power of your words. I do not want you to move on from this podcast right now without understanding. And I want to ask you right now, are you creating or destroying your life? Are you using your words to love or hate? Are you using your words to be or not to be, to build or to demolish your dreams, to create or to curse, to build or to blame? Death and life are in the power of your tongue. And I do not want you to go on with any more of this podcast without you having a spirit of awareness right now, saying, how am I using my words? Are they helping me? Are they building? Are they helping me win? Or are they holding me back from winning? John, you said two things, and I want to ask you something powerful. First of all is, you talk a lot about God. The first 2 commandments are love the Lord your God with all your heart and love people, right? And so I live my life that way. And I want to ask you this, because you work with pro athletes, you work a lot in the secular world, you get along with everybody, but you're also very bold in what you stand for and what you're about. When did you find that relationship with God and what it means to you? And how do you show up every single day in your environments with not being like religious and preachy, but knowing what you stand for, your values, and still being welcome and accepted in all the circles that you're accepted in, brother?
I go to corporations. I speak, as you said, to pro sports teams. I go to school districts, and I go there because it's my calling. It is my purpose. And there is a creator of the universe that created me to go do that. And that is what I stand for. Now, knowing that I stand for that, I'm here to do this work and make a difference. And I always say, God is my speaker bureau. I go where I go, but I'm not there to bring someone religion. I'm there to bring someone love. I'm there to bring wisdom. I'm there to bring teachings that will impact their life, just like we're talking about now, that will impact their work, their career, and hopefully in the long run, bring them closer to themselves and closer to their family and closer to God, right? But I'm not there to bring religion. Religion to me is not God. God is a relationship. And it's about a relationship with the creator. I was with a young man the other day who, 16 years old, he was suicidal, was just in the ER. I knew his mom in high school, and she asked if I would talk to him. Great young man. We had this great conversation. He's like an atheist, right now at this point, and doubting God and wondering if he even exists. I said to him, are you an accident? He said, no, I'm not an accident. I go, well, I said, if the world is just an accident and this is all just evolution and randomness, then you're an accident. If everything is an accident, then you're an accident.
Wow.
I said, do you have a purpose? He said, yeah, I have a purpose. I said, well, if this is all an accident and just randomness and evolution, then there would be no purpose. There would be no meaning. It would just be about survival, eat or be eaten. Sacrificial love would not exist in just an evolutionary world.
Wow.
Now, I'm not saying evolution isn't part of our existence. It's a part, but so is creation. You can look at design. You can look at who we are. So for me, at 35 years old, when I was miserable and negative and down, and my wife gave me that ultimatum, I reached out and finally surrendered and said, God, I can't do this alone. I came to the end of myself. I trusted in God. I surrendered, and I felt a peace that I had never felt before. And in that moment, my life was changed. I was now letting God lead the way. And I know without a doubt, I take a stand for God, because when I fell, God allowed me to stand once again, and he carried me through that process. So I'm not going to turn my back on the God that created me, rescued me, gave me the wisdom to write 26 books, allowed me to share this message, causing me to go do this and have an impact. And guess what? On my own, I'm fearful. With God, I'm faithful. I know that with God, it doesn't make life easier, but it does make me stronger. And it's not a crutch. It's just knowing in that oneness, God created you to be one with the creator, right? The creation creator becoming one. When you are one, you are more united, you're more connected, you are stronger. And we're meant to live from that piece of wholeness and strength. We're not meant to be separate. We look at the world and we see people who are sick. We see mental health. We see people who have chronic disease. That's not normal. It's become normal.
Yeah.
We actually think it's now normal because we see it so much. No, it's normal to be whole. It's normal to be one. It's normal to be united. We've seen the opposite and we're accepting that. No, we're meant to live a long time. We're meant to be healthy. As you talked about, as a man thinketh, the words that we say, what we believe, determines what we create. And so our reality is the result of our thoughts and our beliefs, and ultimately our faith. So when you understand that, you will live more powerfully. And so that faith changed my life at 35 years old. I'm now 51, wow. Right? And I was playing pickleball the other day with these 30-year-olds, and I was dominating them because I don't think I'm 51. I think I'm in my 30s.
Let's go.
And so I'm playing these guys in the 30s, and I'm not in my mind going, oh, I'm older than them. I'm thinking, no, let's go. Let's bring it. I want to beat them. Now, I can't jump as high as I used to. Yeah. And I don't move as fast, but in the middle of it, like, I'm dominating because I still got hand-eye. I'm battling, and it keeps you young, right? Your mindset keeps you young. Again, what you believe determines what you create, and that goes for your body as well. That goes for who you are and your expression, how long you live, how healthy you are. So to me, faith is part of who I am. Yeah. It's what I stand for. But when I'm out teaching the world, I'm not saying, hey, you got to believe in God. No, I'm from my faith. It drives me to be a difference maker. And then you're receiving the spirit from which I'm sharing.
I love it, man. I love it. And, the word of God says they'll know them by their fruit, right? When you show up that way, you automatically, we talk about the law of attraction, right? What I found is when I surrendered, very similar to what you said, and discovered my purpose, there is a peace and there's also power, right? I think you mentioned those words. You had this peace, but you also became more powerful. And I think people are attracted to that. They say, man, look at a Jon, right? How does Jon show up unapologetically? Jon, I wish I had that. I wish I could show up that way. Jon, say this real quick, man. What would you say to the person right now that's listening and you threw out the word purpose? I think that's a very big word. I remember when I went through what I went through, 19 years old, New Jersey, leaving New Jersey, Italian family, coming out to Oklahoma to play basketball, threw away my basketball opportunity, got a young girl on campus pregnant, 19, married, divorced, ended up $400,000 in debt, suicidal, custody battle. I got on my knees and surrendered. That's when I found God truly, and I discovered my purpose at that moment. And I think that's a big word for a lot of people. My purpose came at my most painful moment. And that's what brought me power and allowed me to propel me to do what I do today. And what would you say to the person right now that's listening, Jon, to say, hey, You're throwing out this word purpose. That's good for you, author of 20-something books and pro athletes, and everything's okay now. But how do I find my purpose? Where do I start, John? What would you say?
You start by knowing. It's funny. I did a reel on my Instagram the other day about this. You start by knowing that you have a purpose. So you have a purpose. You are not an accident. So it starts that, just knowing that there is a purpose that's meant to be found. There's a reason why the purpose-driven life has sold like 30 million copies, because people are searching for their purpose. Well, you wouldn't be searching if there wasn't one that was meant to be found. It would be futile. So there is a purpose. So it's knowing that. Second key, you can't know your purpose without a relationship with the one who created you for and on purpose. So God has a purpose for your life. And in your relationship with God, he starts to reveal that purpose to you. So as you become more one, that oneness I talk about, surrender and trust, what happens is in that intimacy, in that connection, God starts to reveal this purpose to you. And for me, it was, God, what's my purpose? I'm open. Show me the signs. Tell me. And I start to ask for the signs. I asked, what am I here for? Writing and speaking came to me. I asked. When you ask, you will receive. Asking is given. God will explain. God will share. You just have to be open. People don't receive because they're not trusting. They're often saying, God, show me and I'll trust you. And God is saying, no, trust me and I'll show you. And so that's the key. Trust there's a purpose, and then have a relationship with God. And the more you do, God will start to reveal your purpose to you. And then here's the other key. Start to live and work on purpose. Start to make a difference. Start to find ways to serve. Start to find ways to impact. Make your life about others, not yourself. The minute you decide to do that, a greater purpose will start to reveal and move through. You will become a conduit for your purpose. So one of my prayers often was, not as much anymore, but I still need to do it more now, probably because, we're always growing, always changing. God, make me an instrument of your peace. Make me a conduit and a vessel for the miracles you want to see in this world. Make me an instrument for the impact you want to have on others. Use me to encourage others. Use me to inspire others. Bring me to where you want me to bring me. Help me help who you want me to help. Show me who you want me to impact today, and make me a vehicle for that, God. And so you're saying, God, use me to help others. Use me to make a difference. And I always say, expand my influence and affluence, right? Expand my influence to make a difference, to glorify you, and the affluence to be able to glorify you and to do that work and to give more away to help others. So it's amazing how that happens more and more, but it's about knowing why you're here and knowing that you have a purpose. And I was there. So if someone says, well, that's easy for you, John. No, I was there. I didn't have a purpose. I was miserable. I was negative. I literally wanted to give up many times. I remember being so down, almost bankrupt. Wife literally is about to leave. And once I changed my thinking and changed who was in control of my life, that's when everything changed.
What a testimony. What a story, man. You said so many great things there. Guys, if you're listening right now, I think you could pause and you could go back and use John's same prayer for yourself. Like, we talked about the power of your words. Like, what if you said that prayer and asked God every day to use you? That's one of the simplest ways, John, I think I've ever heard how to find your purpose broken down. I think so many times in the world we live, personal development, and people are searching their whole lives. I talk to people every single day, and that's one of the things I help people do is create a winning life. And people are so overwhelmed with, I'm not living my purpose. How do I find my purpose? I think you just gave them such a simplified blueprint to find your purpose. And guys, John mentioned some books. I mean, I'll be honest with you, like Purpose Driven Life is one of the 3 books that changed my life. I enrolled in a Bible school at my lowest time, suicidal, $400,000 in debt, living with guilt and shame, hating my life, throwing away my story. I enrolled in Bible school. I got a hold of the Bible and started to implement those principles. I got a hold of Purpose Driven Life, that book, and discovered my purpose. And I got a hold of a Tony Robbins book, and I shifted my perspective. When I read this in the book, it says the meaning of anything in life only has the meaning you choose to give it. If you guys have not read Purpose Driven Life, get that, but don't get that before you get one of John's books. His books are the best.
No, I do want to recommend The Purpose Driven Life. I think it's a great book, but I did write a simple book called The Seed, and it's a fable, and it's about finding your purpose. And it's the things we talked about. And it's a journey that this young 27-year-old goes on to find his purpose, because he's feeling like so many people feel today. He's lost, and he and his dog which is named Dharma, which means purpose. He and Dharma go on this journey to find his purpose, and it reveals all of the truths that I shared. And then there's the Carpenter that I wrote as well, which is all about prayer and mindset and perspective and loving and serving and caring and generosity. It's like the greatest success principles of all. And I wrote that book as well. Like those are the two kind of books besides the Energy Bus and Training Camp that I wrote with in mind in terms of helping people live their purpose, find their purpose, but also have the belief. So the Carpenter, there are these sayings that I put in the book that the character says that I said every single day to change my thinking. I would say, God, I expect great things to happen today, God. I trust in your plan for my life. I accept all the people that want to work with me and benefit from my gifts and talents. I would literally say that each day, put that in the Carpenter. And I tell people, try that for 30 days. The things I wrote in the Carpenter, try it for 30 days and see if it has an impact on your life. You would not believe the response I get from all these people within 30 days, what starts to happen in their life when they start doing this.
Oh man, I love, like, your style of writing is so unique. Guys, if you have not picked up Jon's book, get them. Like, your style of writing, Jon, how you make it so real. You can't put the book down. Like, you cannot put the book down because it's like real life stories and personal development and life skill stuff. And you do such, I don't know how many writers that I've read books of that keep you like on the edge of your seat where you don't want to put the book down as much as you, man.
I appreciate that. That means a lot. And I want people to know I do donate all the proceeds from the Carpenter to charity, and also the Gordon all goes to charity as well. So I have several books where and the Hard Hat all to charity. So several of my books I've earmarked to just give, pure donations to. And I also tithe, 10% of all my books of royalties to different charities and stuff. So I make sure besides those 3 books, we're always, giving back. And I believe that when you see yourself as a vessel, you see yourself as a conductor, not a resistor. I wrote about this in Training Camp. The conductor freely gives and receives of its electrons. So its power comes not from what it holds on to, but what flows through it. Whereas the resistor holds on to its electrons. So it only has limited power, and it holds on to the electrons it has. And so it doesn't have a lot of power. So many times we're like resistors just holding on. Instead, we got to become conductors and allow ourselves to have the greater energy and the greater power move through us.
It's so powerful. I mean, we're talking about almost like a scarcity mindset to a poverty mindset, winning and losing. Guys, these books are phenomenal. And Jon said some powerful things I don't want you to miss, that you all are, every single one of you listening right now, you're here on purpose. And I'm going to say that again. If you're listening right now, I don't know why you tuned in. You could be a pro athlete. You might be a pastor. You might be a high level executive. You might have tuned in by mistake. I'm telling you right now, and I want you to hear what I'm saying. You are here on purpose. I'm not saying it this podcast right now. I'm saying on this earth, and you have a purpose. I'll never forget reading, Jon, in a Tony Robbins book where it said the greatest force in life is a soul on fire. And people ask me all the time, how do you have so much energy? How do you have so much passion? It comes from purpose. A purpose brings passion, right? And so with purpose, that's when you fight through, the delays, the distractions, the disappointments of life. That's when you can make what's in front of you bigger than what's behind you. That's when you can make what's inside of you, when you know you're living for something greater than what's outside of you. Guys, today is your day to come to a true realization, look yourself in the mirror that you do have a purpose and you're here on purpose. And I believe what Jon spoke to today is going to help you determine that purpose. Get the seed, get the Carpenter, get the Training Camp, get the Energy Bus, get all of Jon books. Just read one a month and they'll change your life. Jon, do this for us. I want to respect your time. I know you're going to be part of Ed Milet's great event, him releasing his new book, and that's exciting. And so the power of one. But tell us this, what does Jon Gordon do we talk about win all day. Win all day is not about just losing and winning. That's not what it's about. There's a whole mantra behind it. There's a whole movement behind it. It's about you showing up every single day your best. It's about you maximizing your God-given talents and abilities. It's about you knowing identity, that you were put on this earth with a purpose, that you were born to win, that you can win, you will win. It's about you showing up every single day with an expectancy. It's about you believing that all things work together for good all day, that all things are possible. But to do that, faith without works is dead. And so we have the winning 5. And I ask every guest a couple questions. And this is the question is, what does Jon Gordon do every single day? What is maybe 1 or 2 habits or rituals that you incorporate every single day that set you up to win and put you in a winning position so that you could go into your day?
Exercise every day.
There you
It's
go.
a huge part of who I am, right? Got to take care of your body, got to take care of your temple. Plus, it energizes you, gets you ready for the day. Also, a thank you walk. It's like my number one strategy. I take a walk of gratitude. Research shows you can't be stressed and thankful at the same time.
Come on.
So if you're feeling blessed, you will not feel stressed. So you take this walk of gratitude, and while you're walking, you just say what you're thankful for. And as you're doing that, you're flooding your brain and body with these positive emotions that uplift you rather than the stress hormones that slowly drain you. And you do that for a day, another day, another day. And over time, right, you create a fertile mind that is ready for great things to happen. And for me, that walk of gratitude turned into a walk of prayer as well. So first, gratitude, then expectations, then it's saying what you believe to be true and accepting and receiving and allowing and even repenting. And then it's about prayer and talking to God. And you do that, by the time you're done with that walk, you're ready to go. You are ready. You're filled up with the Holy Spirit. You are moving in a positive directions, and you are ready to take on the day.
Come on. I absolutely love it. We have a winner circle mastermind. We have the winning 5, and we give people a blueprint for that. It amazes me how so many people don't have a ritual every single day that sets them up to win. So I appreciate you sharing that. John, is there I want to respect your time. Is there any other, last minute things that you want to impart? Here's what I'm gonna say before we go there. You're an amazing guest. You're an amazing human being. We're a little disappointed. We're talking about winning all day. You stopped at 20 something books. We haven't even got to 30, my man. Come on. Can we get to 30, please?
I'm working on more. So I got some other ones coming.
I want to call John Maxwell and tell him that you surpassed him with all these leadership books.
Well, John Maxwell would say, no, we've got a much more to be written. So that's the other thing. I'm not leaving this earth until I've written more books of what I'm supposed to write. And I will not write a book unless there's something to be said. And that's something I really feel proud about. People who read the books, they're all different. No one feels like I just basically shipped something that wasn't worthy. They know that I put my time, energy, heart, and care into the book, and it had to be good before it was done. And I'm proud that people will say that about my books. Some are smaller than others, shorter than others. The Coffee Bean is a quick read. It's meant to be, right? Certain books that I've written are small and quick. Coffee Bean's a 20-minute read, but that's the purpose of it. 20 minutes to have the message and to live that way. So that's what I'm all about. I want to tell people, the choices you make will determine the life that you lead and live. And I can look back and realize that every morning I got up to write a book. I usually write in December. Every morning I got up, I made the decision to write, not to get on social media, not to look at my emails, but to write. And the more I did that every day, the more I wrote a book. Within 30 days, I'd have a book written. Sometimes 3.5 weeks, I'd have a book written. And I can look back and realize I now get to do what I do, get to work with these organizations, get to go speak to these teams. Different athletes will call me up after reading my book, Damian Lillard and so many others. And okay, it's because I made the choice to write that day and eventually finish this book. If I would get on email, social media, I would never finish the book. I would never be able to write even in the first place, because the minute you do, you get distracted. You can't write. So it's the conscious choice, and your choices and your habits will determine your life and your reality.
Wow, man. I'm so grateful for you, John. I can honestly say, and just a testament to that, reading your books, they're, and I'm spirit filled as well. I feel it, man. I honestly feel like, I think guys listening right now, you could do a lot in the natural on your own. But I think the biggest takeaway for me on this entire show, and John, you dropped so much wisdom that could change somebody's life on this show in a short amount of time. But I think the greatest thing I take away from this show is, there's a simple formula, right? You could go very far on your own in the natural. But I think, John, I'm very humbled by who you are, being bold and saying, this isn't just about me. I did something, and here's a formula. I did what I can do in the natural, but I locked in with the creator and what he could do in the spiritual. And I think that's when supernatural happens. I'm being honest. I don't think anything you write in your book is just you. When I read your books, man, I feel the spirit. I feel like something different, brother. And I'm going to continue to believe the greatest for you. And I'm just so blessed that you took the time to impart into our Win All Day family. We have pro athletes that listen. If you're listening to a pro athlete, go get training camp. Go get all John's books. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get off and I'm going to buy 7 of John's books. And when you listen to this podcast, if you message me on Instagram, Facebook, any of social media, and you tell me your biggest takeaway from this episode, I'm going to mail you one of Jon's books along with one of my books just to bless you. Jon, thank you so much. I didn't know you were Italian Jewish from the East Coast either. Come on, baby.
Come on. That's why you have the energy you have, because you have that energy. And Italians and Jews are similar. Italians are like Jews with better food. That's the thing about Italians. And you got to love when you go back to the East Coast and you're driving and people start cursing at you. People think they're cursing. They're not really cursing. That's how they say hello in New York. That's it. We just say hello that way. But I do want to say what you just said is so powerful. I don't want to take credit. I agree with you 100%. I'm not the author, just the pen. And I recognize that. And your life should not make sense but for the Holy Spirit. So if it makes sense doing it on your own, then really you could have achieved so much more. You could have done so much more. Because when you see the miracle, you know that God was involved in your life. And someone like me, who never wrote a book before, never wrote a fable, didn't know I could write, right? To write these books in 3.5 weeks like I do. Never takes longer than that, maybe 4 tops, a couple of them. I know that God is the reason why I'm writing these books. And there is a power. People read my books and they say there's an energy behind it. Yep. And I know it's because I'm praying and I'm surrendering while I'm writing. And that's all God. So for your life, right? You try to do it on your own, you won't be as powerful. So my recipe is this: work like it depends on you and pray like it depends on God. And if you can do that together, that's when you become truly powerful.
Come on, Jon Gordon, love who you are, man. We're so honored. Thank you for your time. I now know why many people that, know us both said you got to connect with this guy. I'm honored. I'm grateful. And so I like to do this at the end of the show.
Your brother from another mother.
Let's go, brother. Let's go. I like to do this at the end of every show. I would just love if you could say, I am Jon Gordon. I am a winner. I will win and win all day. Can we do that?
Yeah, sure. I am Jon Gordon. I am a winner. And guess what? We will win all day.
Let's go. Jon, tell everybody where they can go get your books one last time before we end the show today.
Just jongordon.com, Jon Gordon.com, which connects you to all the booksellers and bookstores, and also Amazon. Great place to buy. Barnes & Noble. Website, jongordon.com. Instagram, social media, Twitter, @JonGordon11, Jon Gordon 11. And I'm not as sharp as I usually am. I think I played pickleball in the 90-some degree heat in Florida. So I think I'm like going, wait, Jon, you're not thinking as quickly as you usually do. And I definitely think it's that pickleball morning. I gotta get my mind right. I think I gotta refuel, recharge.
Let's go. Well, we're grateful to have you. We're honored. Guys, this is Coach JC, and I was joined today by the one and only Jon Gordon. And I want to remind you one last time until the next episode that you were born a winner, so go win and win all day. We'll get at you next time, guys.
Let's go.